Good day and welcome to a rather warm start to this week's A Week at the Plot. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's about 20 degrees, maybe a little higher than 20 degrees. Of course, when you're in the full sun, it feels warmer than that because it is warmer than that. There's quite a cooling breeze, but it's not really enough to stop you sweating, you know. And I've been down here today for maybe about half an hour so far. And what I wanted to do is rummage in our pot store, our plastic pot store, which is just basically a plastic tray that we have by the communal shed. And anyone who has a plastic pot that they don't want, that can go into that plant pot store. And what we normally do is we use those at this time of year for potting on things and sowing things for the Hanwell Carnival. This year, because we're not doing the Hanwell Carnival, I have been rummaging there because I want to sow Borlotti seeds for the gate sale that we're going to be doing. Oh, I can see a sparrow on next door's broad beans, and it's obviously taking black fly. It's rather gorgeous. What we do have today as well, as you can hear, is plenty of planes going over. And at this time of day, they seem to be the sort of big planes that are going off to America and far-flung places. They're the bigger ones rather than the smaller ones, it seems. It seems that I may be completely wrong. But yes, what I was doing, I was rummaging for plastic plant pots, because what I'm going to be doing is sowing some Borlotti seeds, some bush Borlotti seeds in the coming days. Because I think if I sow 3 per pot, then it will be maybe 2 weeks away from where we're at the moment. We're almost, so it's 2.5 weeks away from our gate sale. So I think that will be plenty of time for those beans to germinate and start growing and be something that will be buyable at our gate sale. So I don't normally sow for ourselves Borlotti bush beans, and I haven't this year, but I thought as I had them, it would be a good thing to sell to raise money for the allotment association. Because of course you can take those and put them into small back gardens, you know, so I think that's quite good. And I was also looking at the plot and looking at the state of the grasses which are going to seed, and I've decided that the time is right to lop them back, because what I don't want is I don't want those seeds on the grasses to mature to become proper seeds, viable seeds. I want to chop down the grasses before that happens, because what will then happen is I'll chop them down, they'll start drying, and the seeds on the chopped bits of grasses will never become viable seeds. So that's what I've been doing. I've been chopping them down and raking them. In fact, I haven't raked any of those up yet, but I will be doing that. And then in the area just by one of our beds where we had the very large brassica cross of Nero di Toscana and Portuguese cabbage, that area, because it was overhung by this large brassica, had become overgrown. So I've just snipped it back with shears and then raked that off. And that's an area that I'll be able to strim from now on. There goes another bit. Oh, it's a British Airways. It's British Airways. So I've done that, which is grand, and that is going to go into our perennial weed compost bin. And the last thing that I have done is I have taken out those volunteer tomatoes. So in that bed last year, we mainly had Guernsey Island tomatoes that we've been sent from the Coanga Institute in New Zealand. And clearly some seeds, some fruit fell on the ground, those seeds were viable and they have germinated. So they're here at the front in big clods of soil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought one had been eaten because I could only see 4 visually when I counted 5 a week or so ago, but certainly there's still 5 there. And I'm going to pot these up into our normal square pots, because you know I only like square pots for me because they fit better in the tray, I feel. So I'm going to pot these up and then grow them on. And I think later this week we'll be looking at the tomatoes that we have at the side here, because they are growing rather slowly. The nights are still quite cool and I think they're enjoying the sun, but they're sort of still being stunted at night with the cool weather. Though I have to say, other people who have put their tomatoes out already, theirs are sort of growing and getting away. So I do think I want to get these tomatoes in as soon as possible. What I also have here is leeks. So these are leeks that were on the sharing table from one of our plot holders who's been here, I think, 3 or 4 decades. And I saw them the other day and I thought, yeah, I'll have some of those. And I think they're going to, well, I know which bed they're going to go into, but we'll have a look at that when we get to it. But yeah, that's all I'm going to be doing today. So I've done the grasses on this side of the plot. So I need to do the tall grasses on that side of the plot, as I say, cut them down. I still know that the hedgehogs are going through and running through the grasses, so by cutting the seeds off I'm still leaving the growth in, if you like, below, so that's not going to impinge on their habitat too much. So yeah, and then I think I'm going to sort out the polytunnel. Let's have a look at that. It needs a bit of sorting. Certainly the beds need sorting. Yes, you can see that this bed does need sorting. We've got the Mizuna here, which you can see, maybe you can see the seeds beginning to form in those pods. You may remember I'm going to be saving seed from this, which is why I've let it grow on. Underneath, lift that up. Underneath we have a lettuce going to seed. Can you see the flower? Maybe it's a bit too much sun, but there's a flower coming on there. This lettuce will be quite bitter now. And then we've got spinach here in the shade, which has gone over. More spinach down here that has gone over. Coriander here. There's a lettuce there that we're obviously going to be leaving in. Another lettuce there. And then at the back here we've got our coriander and umbellifer. As you can see, that looks a bit like an upturned umbrella. So that's an umbellifer. And so it's a family of carrots and parsnips as well. And again, I'm letting that go to seed, that coriander go to seed. That's just one plant. But more spinach here that has gone over and would be quite bitter. Another type of spinach here that has gone over. So yeah, time for me to get in here and just tidy this all up. Hopefully you can see this is much tidier with all, well, most of the plants. Well, all of the spinach has been taken out, and the only plants that have gone over that I've left in are the lettuce, the mizuna and the coriander. And I've pulled the coriander back so that the coriander that is growing here has more space. And now I can see that there's more space to put lettuce seedlings in, or lettuce plants. I think I know where those are going to come from. And I'm just pleased I've done that. And I've tied this bit back. I've put a bamboo, attached a bamboo to the rebar and tied that bit back as well. So it's not quite so much in my way. And then up here I've done the pots for the tomatoes, and here are the tomatoes here that are going to be going in. Pots at the back for the Borlotti, which I just put there for tomorrow or the next day. And then a little interruption, which was rather welcome. Somebody wants some advice, so we're going to sit in the shade now before I do the tomatoes and have a chat. So there we are. I will see you soon for more segments of A Week at the Plot. Bye. Good day. Oddly enough, that's not a sight that we see that often. I know we see lots of planes, but this one actually took off in a completely different direction and then turned sharp left and is now going over central London. So it took off going in this direction over here and then banked right around sharply to change direction by at least 90 degrees and go that way. Interesting. What of course is more interesting is how our garlic are. So these have had their scapes removed a few days ago, maybe 5 days ago, and are really, you can see they've really quite died back. Oh, I need to tighten that because it keeps on falling. Yeah, so these are ready to come out for sure. They've really died back very swiftly. I mean, we have had hardly any rain, but still they've died back much more swiftly than normal, I think. In fact, I think the main load of leaves have died back in the last couple of days with all the heat. So what I'm going to do, oh, there's an oak in there, look over there, there's another oak. What I'm going to do is get my hand fork right in underneath these and lift them out, because we're going to be storing them, and one thing we don't want to do when we're doing that is break the basal plate where the roots come out, because it will basically reduce the length of time that we can store them. So yeah, I'm just going to get my fork and let's take a few of these out. We'll take these 3 out here and I'll do it from this end. Just levering them up. Oh dear. There's white rot. Oh, you never know until you take it out. Let's do this one. Oh, I can see on here as well. Oh, and there, look. Are they all going to have white rot? We shall come back to them all once I've harvested them. It turned out that the first 3 I harvested were actually 3 of 7 that had white rot. The rest down here are absolutely fine. So white rot, this is a typical example. You can see how that is white and sort of scaly. It can get really slimy. the roots are clearly dying back on those compared to the others. And some people say that you can just peel things back and like there and then eat these cloves, but we've got plenty here for the coming months. I only wanted some for like 2 or 3 months before we moved. We've got plenty here, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the white rot ones and they are going to go in my green waste at home, so I'll take them home. The rest here I'm just going to leave dry in this tray. There's plenty of airflow in the poly now because I leave the door open at this time of year, and in fact I might even put these on the chair so that they get even more sun and just sort of tip the tray that they're in up a bit. But yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I do remember we had some white rot on the ones that we harvested last year. So I guess it shows that if you are able to buy fresh garlic for growing each year, it might be a good idea. The thing with white rot in soil is it can last up to sort of 15. I think the University of Michigan even said a few years ago it can last up to 40 years in soil. So yeah, if you can't sterilize your soil where your garlic and potentially other alliums have grown that have had white rot, then best to plant somewhere else. I know that's one of the reasons why some people grow their garlic in tubs these days in fresh compost. Clearly a tad disappointing. Yeah, I mean it is, isn't it? So that's 7 of 24 which had white rot, so that was that 27%, something like that. So just over a quarter of what we had white rot. However, the other sort of, just under 75% doesn't, and it will save me buying garlic over the coming months, which is great. And Vivi and I were talking about something along these lines the other day. We see an awful lot about growing and gardening being really good for your mental health, and it is, but please don't expect it to be easy or always bring fantastic results or even good results, because actually as growers we've got to take the highs with the lows, because all of us have years where something that we grow really, really well, it will fail completely. And this year I'm really pleased that the lettuce are doing so well and the broad beans are doing so well. So actually I take I take the credit for that, and of course give a lot of credit to the plants as well, and I enjoy that. And things like white rot in our garlic, I will just have to take that on the chin. It would be brilliant if we had all of our garlic absolutely clean of white rot, but I'm not going to let the fact that 25% of our garlic this year has got white rot, I'm not going to let that bring me down. But we do need to take the rough with the smooth when we are growers and gardeners. And we also have to put up with aeroplanes at this allotment site too. I know Vivi has aeroplanes, but they don't come directly over her most of the time. They're a bit further into London as it comes into Heathrow on the landing path, where one of the routes of the takeoff path is directly over our allotments. So there we are. But yeah, we hear a lot about people going, give it a grow, and I absolutely do encourage people who don't grow to give something a grow. Even if it's cutting off the tops of carrots and putting the carrot top into water on the windowsill just to see what happens. It'll produce the fronds again, it won't produce a root. But giving things a grow really can be fabulous. You know, I mean, that's why us allotmenteers sort of do it year in, year out. And we put up with the roughs and we really rejoice in the smooth bits. And now I'm going to do another of the rough bits, which is basically just going around doing a little bit of tidying. And I think I'm going to do a plastic pick around the site as well. The whole site, not just my plot. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back for another segment. I think, what will we be doing then? I don't know. I don't know. I do need to sow those Borlotti beans. So will I do those today? I think I'm going to do them tomorrow morning first thing, and I'll do them with you. See you then. Bye. Good day. Look at the sight that greeted me this morning. All of these poppies. And look at the bumblebees. Just glorious. And another one of the ladybird poppies, which I remembered after being reminded what it was. But yeah, that's a glorious sight. As I have to say, are the broad beans, which are really, I'm going to be harvesting some of those today. But this one, sorry about the shadow, this one over here, which has got quite hefty pods on it, I'm going to tie that one up and put fleece around it, because that's the one that I want to save seed from. Gosh, there's a lot of green shield bugs. Look, you see in there, there's two. There's one there. I saw another one there. Ladybird. Do shield bugs eat black fly? I don't know. But yeah, I've never seen so many shield bugs actually. There's another one there, look. Anyway, let's crack on with what I'm going to be doing today. So it's Sunday morning and it's early. It's about 7:15, 7:30, something like that. And I thought I'd get down here before the sun really rises and starts bringing heat to the plot. As you can see, the sun is, oh, where's my thing? There. Oh, it's coming in behind me. Okay, so I can't do that. Yeah, but it's very sunny. It was very, very warm yesterday. It's going to be even warmer today, and possibility of thunderstorms. So we will see. The other day, just as I was about to leave, I saw a peregrine falcon dive bombing a kite, and the footage is not great. I think you can hear the peregrine falcon. So I'm just going to run that here. I thought it was quite amazing. I've seen it before, but I thought it was amazing, you know. I mean, kites are big, red kites are big, and peregrine falcons are much smaller. But yeah, let me just run that footage. I'm not sure if you can see up there. That's a peregrine having a go at a red kite. Look, it's bombarding it. I can't go any more that way because it's going into the sun. I do love the fact we have red kites and peregrine falcons in the area. I think it's fabulous. I really, really do. And I know that footage was pretty poor. I don't think you'll see that on Spring Watch or anything like that ever. But you know, I did my best. I did my best. And as I said the other day, Borlotti beans, bush Borlotti beans, I was going to be sowing those, and I am going to be sowing them today. But what I decided yesterday is I would get ahead of the game. So these are our Borlotti seed, bush Borlotti seeds that I don't know how I have them. I think they may have been sent to us, but I'm not sure. Oh, I think Jane Kelly sent them to us. I think they're in a batch that she received and she sent them on to us. And what I've done to try and get a little bit ahead is I've done something that I don't normally do. I have soaked them overnight in water. So I just put them into this plastic bottle, obviously put the water in. That watercolour is from the colour that has come off the beans as they've rehydrated. And as I say, I wouldn't normally soak my beans. I know other people do, but because I've only got 2 weeks before our gate sale and I want these Borlotti beans to really get going as soon as possible, or I've got an ant on me, get going as soon as possible, I thought it would be an idea to soak them. So that's exactly what I've done. What I normally do when I sow seeds into a pot, bean seeds into a pot when they're dried, when they haven't been reconstituted, I usually let that pot sit in water for a day so that it gives the seed an opportunity to soak up the water more swiftly. But this time, because we've only got 2 weeks and I really want to get these going ASAP, I've soaked them. So what I'm going to do now is just drain these, and then I'm going to sow them into the pots that I picked up earlier in the week. I think I've got 5 pots there, and I may go and see if I can find a few more, because I think there's about 40 seeds in here. So it would be good to sow a few more pots. Anyway, I'll show you that when I have done them, and we'll know how many I have actually planted up into pots, or sowed into pots rather. So that's these all sown dwarf Borlotti beans. I've sown 3 per pot, and then hopefully they will grow and be easily separatable when they get bought by somebody else, fingers crossed. I've also got these left over here, and I've decided that I'm going to sow these into modules, so I will do that now. So I've now sown bush Borlotti here. These are for us because they're in the module trays, and I don't know where they'll go, but they'll go somewhere. And of course I have put a label on, but each of these pots will need its own label. I think I'll cut up a milk carton to do that, because if these are going to be bought as pots, you know, maybe £1 a pot for 3 plants, then it's important that they're labelled with exactly what they are. There's our remaining garlic there. That's how I've put them. They're sort of upright on the chair. You can do them the other way, but we're going to be using these over the next couple of months, so I'm fine with them like that. And then if I come over here, this is a lettuce that we're leaving go to seed, and you can see it's beginning to start flowering, where the Mizuna has still got some flowers on it, but is mainly forming pods. And you can see these paler ones here are beginning to dry. So hopefully in maybe a week's time, maybe a week and a half's time, we can start harvesting these pods to save the seeds. Another job I want to do is, and you can see how the chamomile here has gone over. Yeah, it's really sort of gone over now. We've got some feverfew here, which is looking lovely. The lilies are beginning to bud up, or 2 of them are beginning to bud up, which is lovely. But one job I do want to do, these are the volunteer tomatoes that I did last week. Well, when did I do them? Earlier this week. I brought them outside now. I did leave them in the poly for a while. But here, I'm in the... Oh, never mind. Here are our cucumbers still in pots, or some of them. And 3 of these are going to go in because we've had some others that have been eaten. So let's go over to where our cucumbers are. Let's just take 2 of these. I know we need 2. Let's just take 2 and go over to where our cucumbers are. These we put in 3 weeks ago. There was one here as well. But as you can see, they got munched. And as you can also see, these are much bigger than all the others. So actually leaving them in the pots to grow on further, I think has been beneficial. I reckon that they're most probably maybe 2 inches, 3 inches bigger than this one. So yeah, and what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to take up this. We're going to be planting into this next week or the week after, and I'm sure there's slugs underneath here, and what I don't want is slugs coming out and eating these. So I'm just going to make a hole and put them in. I'll link back to one that I've done before so that you can have a look at that, but I'm just going to put these in now. You can see 2 there, smaller ones there, small ones here, snail, one there, look. Yeah, a few there. Less than I thought there was going to be honest. But what I have disturbed, not sure if you can see the ants running about there, red ants. Oh yeah, snails over there, slugs over there, over there. So yeah, quite a few slugs, which I'm going to pick up and move to our compost heap. I cut a bit of netting off and I've wrapped this one up. As I say, this is basically so that I don't harvest from it, because the only thing I want to harvest from this is dried pods for seed saving. Now I'm going to give these a really good water. I'm going to leave it there for this week's A Week at the Plot. Quite a lot done, quite a lot done off camera rather than on camera this week, and I'm going to carry on doing tidying now. There's grass to rake up, some things to cut back, more grasses to cut back, some of the salad leaves that we had, what were they called, can't remember, over the winter. They've died now, so they need to come out of the bed in front of me here. Yeah, just sort of tidying up. So I'm going to do that because next week's A Week at the Plot is going to incorporate a June plot tour. I haven't done one for quite a while and I thought it would be good to do one. Yeah. And watering. I will be doing watering after I have done tidying. Anyway, it's getting bright. It really is getting bright. I'm going to leave it there, put my glasses on, and I will see you next week for another upload of A Week at the Plot on YouTube. And I'll see you through the week for segments of a week at the plot on Planet Vegetaria. And with a frog in my throat, I think I need to go and get myself a drink. See you very soon. Any comments you've got, please leave them down below, as well as any questions. See you next week, and happy growing. Bye.